Today we are making a bread alternative, crunchy oat thins. Let's get cracking. So the first thing I did was put about 2 cups of oats in a bowl. These are Aussie oats, nice and cheap. We've got lots of oats in Australia. Go grab them, they're fantastic. I have not ground them. I have not done anything different here. Just added the oats. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to sprinkle some flax. Now you can see I'm so accurate with my measures. And I'm fortunate enough that most of what I do turns out okay and the family eats it. So I cannot complain. Then I'm going to add some chia. Now I'm just going to mention the flaxseed. The flax has been rolled. So if you could look closely, you can see it's been opened. Now this is very important, especially if you want to ensure that your body digests and absorbs the omega-3 in the flax. Or else what you will see, the flax will just go straight out of your system if you don't have it rolled or crushed in any way. So please ensure you have some sort of crushed oats. Now, what you can also do is put this through a blender really quickly, and that's fine, or a coffee grinder if you have it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some organic chia seeds. This package that I'm using is not the package that the chia seeds came with. These are black chia seeds. I just reuse. I find that I reuse jars and receptacles quite a bit. Now the big secret here is what herbs and spices you will add. That's going to make the difference. You can just leave it at this point. If you do have some salt, I don't usually cook with salt, but if you do cook with a little bit of salt, feel free to put some pink Himalayan salt in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this organic no salt seasoning. Now this is a Kirkland product. So that's Kirkland is, what's that big, you all know what Kirkland is. Wait, I'm sure it will have at the back here. Kirkland Signature, it's part of, what's that big chain that do, I don't know. I do know, I can't remember it. So I'm just going to sprinkle some of that on. I'm just going to say, Costco, that's it. It's a Costco. So I've added a whole heap of that, and that's going to give it a lot of flavour. Now I've got some lentil stew, sort of stew/soup coming. So this is going to be a great side to have with my lentil stew later on. Other herbs you can add oregano, basil, Italian mix. You can even do a Mexican type mix if you like. Now all I'm doing here is giving it a quick little stir. Now I've got cram muffins in the oven baking, so this is good, and I'll tell you why it's good, and this is all good timing. Because now I'm just going to add some water. That's it, just water. And I'm going to stir that all in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that soak for a while. So just adding water, mixing it all up. And I'm just going to just leave it be for a little while. Just make sure it is nice and moist. Add plenty of water. You can see the water at the bottom there, and I'm just mixing it all up. As you can see, I'm not precise. If you add a little bit more water, that's okay. You can just add more oats or some more chia seeds. Now, why I'm going to leave this is for a couple of reasons. The oats will then become better to work with when I want to put this in the oven. So that's one reason. And another reason, it allows time for the flax to also react with the water, and it becomes kind of gluggy, and it helps the mixture bind a lot more. Because you can see I haven't added any flour. So you can add a little bit of millet flour if you like to bind it better, but I'm not doing any of that. I'm just adding water, and I'm just going to let it be. This is super, super, super simple. So this can actually be a one ingredient thing. You can just have oats and do this with oats. But I like to add the flax so I can get those omegas in, omega-3. They are essential fatty acids, also the chia seeds, and it also helps bind it. And then the spices, herbs and spices for extra taste. So I'm just going to leave this just sit for, just on the bench. It doesn't even have to be in the fridge. Just cover it so nothing falls in it. Just let it be for at least half an hour. So I've left this for about half an hour, and you can actually see how the oats aren't separate anymore. They've kind of all like binded together. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water here to make it easier to work with for myself. So I'm just adding a bit of water because I want to spread this quite thin on a silicone tray. So I'm just going to add some water and just stir it until it's just easy to spread. So that's my aim here. Just adding water. I was hoping to have this ready by the time I was hungry so I can have it with my lentil soup. Now let's see if I can hold out a little bit. I don't know if I can hold out. Because I've still got the crab muffins in the oven. I'm baking up a storm today for the whole family and myself. So it's quite easy when the family eats mostly like you do. And the good thing is this is all just wonderful, healthy food. It's just great. So there's no reason why, you know, the kids have to have chips at school if they can't have something healthy instead. So I'm just going to keep stirring this, and you can see it's now becoming a lot easier to work with, and it's not separated like it was before. The oats are now, so you don't even have to really like grind it down. You just let it soak a little bit in the water. Now is you just literally just spread it on a silicone tray. Now I was just cooking on this tray just before, and I roasted some Brussels sprouts, so just frozen, throw it on. I'll show a video one day of that because I do that all the time. And so I'm just spreading it now. It's nice and easy, and spread it as thin or as thick as you like. So it's totally up to you. Quite thin, probably about 2 mil thin. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get a knife. I don't need it to be sharp, just any kind of knife, and I'm just going to score it just nice and easy. Now what that will let me do is it will let me easily break them up after they've cooked. And why I want to do that and have them in certain pieces is because they fit perfectly in the toaster, because these are going to be stored in the fridge unless you eat them really quickly. So because they're going to be stored in the fridge, you want them nice and warm and toasty and crisp when you eat them. So then all you have to do is just crack them and just put them in the toaster, and away you go. Nicely in the oven now. I've got 2 prepped, and I can't wait for them to come out because I do want to have some with my lentil soup. Now check out these yummy things that have just come out of the oven. Now I'm going to take them off the silicone tray, and they've already been scored, as you can see, so they'll be easy to break up. And I'm going to leave them cool on a wire rack, but I'm going to eat one straight away with my lentil soup. I'm just going to have a little bit more lentil soup and pop this on the side. It's going to be delicious. Just transferred the whole thing onto a wire rack, and you can see how easily it just breaks. Yum. And that is super crunchy. Listen to this. And I'm going to have one of these with my lentil soup now. Yummo. And here is the other one. I'm also easily breaking that off. What you can see is some from the zucchini. I was going to say from the broccoli. Broccoli. Oh, not broccoli, not zucchini. From the Brussels sprouts that I made just before this. So I just kept baking and kept going. Maybe I should have cleaned it, but it's just going to have some bit of Brussels sprout flavour underneath. And they taste delicious. So I'm going to now serve this with my soup / stew, the lentils. So here is my lentil soup. Yum! with my nice oat, I was going to say oat bread, my bread alternative, which is oat based, and it's nice and crunchy and delicious, and it will go perfectly with my nice hot lentil stew or soup. You can tell me whether it's a stew or a soup. The pieces, I'm just going to let it cool on the rack. To store this, pop it into a sealed container and store it in the fridge. And then if you want to make it crispy again, because it will soften up in the fridge, if you want to make it crispy, just pop it in a toaster. And that's why I've scored it so it sits perfectly in a toaster. Look at all these crisp breads I've made. Perfect alternative to normal flour wheat bread, and just with oats. I didn't even have to blend anything. I just mixed it up, and I've got the flax in there, and they taste delicious because I added the spices. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Beti signing out.